Death is my blessing. Hello, I'm Diabolical Canalica. I am a Irish succubus who enjoys action games and especially Warhammer 40k stuff, like Darktide. And I like making fluffy belts. I have another fluffy belt for you here. This is my Kasrkin Marksman belt. On it, I run for Curios, just triple toughness with toughness, stabler regen combat, ability regen. I run a Hellbore Mark IV because it is the hardest hitting variant that does fire slower, but makes up for it with the amount of punch that it packs. Especially against stuff like Carapace and Unyielding. Its charged shots deal 200 damage on crits to Carapace, and you can see the rest of the damage profile there. On it, I run for Pex, bonus crit chance to crit more often for reasons we will see later, also because its crit modifiers are very good. Range damage elites, because we have a mix of Maniac, Flak, Unarmored, Carapace, and Unyielding for enemies that are counted as OBs. That gives me the most, universal damage against them. If there is something specific that you're struggling with, even swap it out for that. Be it Carapace, Flak, Unyielding for boss damage, whatever, it's up to you. I run the Blessing Surgical on it because you will be taking slower measured shots. That helps guarantee crits. With Veteran having 10% base range crit chance and another 5% here, you only need to aim for about 2.4 seconds to have a guaranteed critical hit. You don't have to wait that long. I find that waiting until it's fully charged at 80% charge rate is usually enough to crit more often than not. I also run Hotshot because it'll give you cleave, more cleave, for your Hellbore which already can penetrate somewhat. This is mostly helpful for getting multiple hits or tagging gunners, shotgunners, whatever that are hiding behind their friends. It takes it from being able to penetrate just a bruiser and not going any farther to taking out a full melee. Onto the talent tree. With melee weapon. I run a chainsword with Flak and Unyielding on it. Mobility is a dot stat because everything else contributes to damage. If you have something that's a bit of a mix, more like this, that's also fine. This is just the one I've been using for Havoc. Flak and Unyielding because bosses and non-Carapace enemies, you could swap out the Unyielding for Carapace, especially with the Rotten Armor modifier. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. For Blessings, I run in Bloodletter and Wrath. Wrath to actually cleave through hordes effectively, and Bloodletter for boss damage, and just helping chew through elites and the like more efficiently. Onto the talent tree. You will be popping heads of elites, specials, and shooters. So, I run a confirmed kill and accelerating takedown. Confirmed kill because it is your best toughness region, so it's for what is you're consistently killing elites and specialists, because it replenishes 10% immediately and 2% per second for 10 seconds. Accelerating takedown gives you a burst of 15 immediately and up to 30% toughness damage reduction for 8 seconds on ranged weak spot kills. The stacks fall off one at a time now, which is very, very nice. And on the Hellboard, and a Marksman's Focus style build, that's good. These pair very well, because the regen pairs very nicely with the bonus toughness damage reduction to make you incredibly resilient versus ranged attacks. Long shot because damage. Close order drill because it's mandatory. Shredder frags to help break up hordes and just send them out. Then I come down here. You want to grab Superiority Complex because, damn it. Iron Will because survivability. Then Trench Fighter Chill for the melee attack speed. Next up, pick up Field Improv because you're Kasrkin. You know how to make the most out of a bad situation. So, this lets you give grenades back to your teammates. Your Ogren with the big bots of boom? He gets grenades. He's dealt with stun storms. They get grenades. Diabetes with shock mites. They have even more pocket smites now. It just helps clean up the grenade economy, especially in Havoc. It's nice. The faster healing is nice. The corruption cleanse can be helpful if you had to fight a beast in Urgo and had to stand in the goop or run through it, or you took a little bit of chip damage at some point, or whatever. It helps just clean it up. And it gives you some nice toughness regen. It's got much toughness regen, but it's nice. It helps. And then solo, more crit chance for the held bar. It takes you up to 25% crit chance, not by. So you only need to aim for, what? 7 stacks worth, which is essentially 2 seconds. You have a guaranteed crit every 2 seconds, which with the charge up time is not quite that long, but it gets to where you're sitting at about 70% crit shots when you're firing at full speed. If my math is correct. It might not be. My fucking VTuber, you think I can do math? Anyways. Catch your breath. It's mandatory now. It's also very good. Survivalist. To just make your ammo and your allies' ammo stretch out as far as possible. And because the other two are a little bit weak by comparison. I grabbed double stockpile because free grenades. I grabbed grenadier, extra grenades, and sometimes extra free grenades. Marksman's focus with counterfire. Plasma gunners are a bitch. Shooters, in general, are a bitch. They hurt a lot in Havoc. This lets you just know where they speckin' are. That's all you kill one, you get to keep killing. So, as the loose cannon veteran says, it's time to kill and kill and kill and kill. It's good. Also, you get 10% toughness per second, which, if you don't refresh it, is 50% of your max toughness, and if you do refresh it, winds up being a lot. Which pairs well with this, and with this, and makes this give you a lot of toughness per second. In total. Come down here, range damage boost, precision strikes because you counter headshots. Fully loaded, more ammo, more gooder. Also, it's the only way to get down here. Grab the stamina regen boost, which is just helpful for mobility, combat in general. More stamina, more gooder. You grab Killzone and Shock Trooper because it's a las weapon build. It's a critical las weapon build. Near Ane. More damage. License focus because it's been reworked and is totally good and usable now. And then Long Range Assassin to increase the number of stacks. You didn't do this before, unless you're doing a recon las gun because you couldn't build up stacks quick enough to offset how quickly you lost them from moving, and you just ran camouflage instead would post up somewhere, but your Smite Psyker, your Ogren with taunt just keeps shit off of you while you stand there and pop heads. Now you can move around while you pop heads, and as long as you're killing anything with a weak spot hit once every 5 seconds, you'll be sitting at max most of it. If you do have to go into melee, get weak spot hits and you maintain your stacks. It's really nice. Come over here and grab Demo Team because more grenades. There's some synergy between Grenadier and Demo Team. Because let's say it's a horde of Ragers and you chuck out 2 grenades. Deadly. And you kill 3 Ragers and let's say Demo Team somehow procs on all 3 of them, you'd lose a grenade because you would overcap. No? You have extra grenades, meaning you can get more mileage out of Demo Team because you'll never overcap on grenades. No, never is a stretch, but you get what I mean. Tactical awareness, it's your only cooldown regeneration. It also goes nuts with executioner stats because you will be keeping this active for the duration. And executioner stats will pretty much have a 15-second cooldown, which means that you only need to get, let's say, 4 resets on it to then have it ready the second it falls off. I grab rending strikes for the extra rending. Armored enemies got a bit tankier. This helps your blades from your grenades and your chainsword, so it helps. It's just a little bit more damage. You can absolutely drop this for the extra toughness, which gets you to 233 toughness with a maxed build. But I'm going through the damage. It helps me push breakpoints a little bit harder in Havoc. So there. Bring it down. Straight set damage for options and monstrosities. It'll help you kill these 2 feckers quicker. Once you do shit like this. To Reapers in noble Boric missions. And once you get your stacks built up, you know what you do this to crushes? No, not quite 2-shot. Almost 2-shot. But it is just a good, solid Marksman focus executionist build. The use case for it is you're tired of getting fucked up by plasma gunners, these feckers, that fecker, and just range enemies in general. Especially with the new plasma gunners and how they're a bit overtuned. If you are in Havoc and you have, I mean, hell, even in Arctic, if you're in a team that has melee locked down, like I beat his Ogren Zealot, you can usually afford to just sit back a little bit, you know, and just pop this. And you just make the enemies drop. So, I hope that is an adequate showcase for what this build can feckin' do. Of note, in upper level Havocs, you can, with a couple stacks of Marksman's Focus, on this build, hit 1-shot breakpoints on plasma gunner heads. So, if plasma gunners are fucking you up, and your team has melee covered, or like shaftgear covered, so like a bubble psyker with Infernus, a smite psyker, a taunt ogren, and our BTs or a zealot, they can keep you clear long enough to deal with gunners. You can just keep them from ever becoming an issue. Which is the idea behind it. You are a Kasrkin Marksman, a sniper. You have a hotshot Marksman rifle, and you come into this with one job. You keep the enemy from getting to fire a shot at your team. You keep your teammates stocked up on grenades, and in something like the Rotten Armor, where you have sectonic crushers, your solution to that is shit grenades at them. And that's the build. I recommend this build for Arctic, Mortis Trials, and honestly Havoc. It works well with Havoc, it's just somewhat team dependent. You can do something similar where you swap out Marksman's, or you swap out execution stats for Blaze Command and Duty and Honor if your team is less spec around melee, and you could Swap out Field Improv and Open Salvo to pick up Serrated Blade for a bit more melee prowess, and grab either Out for Blood or One Motion. For swapping back and forth quicker, Hellbar is still a little slow without One Motion. You get around this by using Executioner Sauce to draw it instantly. But that is up to you, and it is dependent upon your team. But that's what I've got for you. The Chainzord boss make it pretty solid against most anything, though. It struggles a bit more against Carapace, but again, slap Carapace on there instead of unyielding, so you run in Flak Carapace, and you get it absolutely melts bosses. For example, a non-respot unyielding hit that I missed. Let me try that again. You know, it'll just delete a bulwark. A rager. It does trouble a bit into Carapace now, but hopefully having our Beatties or a Zealot or an Ogren to handle that. Or you can swap out the Shredders for Crack Grenades because they're actually good now. If you were doing that, you would probably swap Grenadier for Grenade Tinkerer to hit better breakpoints and Havoc. But that's a build. Adjust it as you need to for what team you're running with. Because that's kind of just what you do now for anything that's not like Dinosaur Plasma Control. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the build. Hope you can get some use out of it. And until next time, take care. Kill some heretics.